Brand equity is comprised of 7 components. All right, let's look at the top part. You see that there are 5 components which have arrows coming into brand equity: brand associations, brand loyalty, brand awareness, perceived quality. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry. Something. Okay. Perceived quality and other proprietary assets. The arrows going into brand equity means that these elements are correlated and are causes, determinants of brand equity. The arrows coming out are the consequences of brand equity. So there are 2 possible consequences on the value to the customer and the value to the firm. All right. So I will go over each one of the elements in turn. Let's start with brand associations. Brand associations refer to the mental connections the consumers make between a brand and its attributes, benefits, values, and experiences. This may sound very theoretical, so I have 6 possible items that you can use to evaluate the associations related to the brand that you want to partner with. So for example, you can ask potential customers, okay, what words or phrases come to mind when you think of Nike, Adidas, okay, and then they'll give you 4 or 5. Okay, or you can ask, to what extent do you agree that brand X, Adidas, Nike, Starbucks, is associated with the following attributes? Okay, and then agree or disagree. I don't like item number 2, and I'll tell you why. From a scientific perspective, it's considered to be a deterministic item. I don't want to put words into my consumer's mouth. I want this to be an open-ended question, and I want to hear this from them. Okay, so the second question I wouldn't recommend, but the third one, what are the benefits you associated with using brand X? What comes to mind when you see the brand logo? So essentially, in one sentence, brands are personalities. If I would ask you what comes to mind when you hear the word Nike, you would give me one set of attributes or associations. When I ask you what comes to mind when you hear the word Reebok, completely different set of associations would come to mind. So it's like 2 different individuals with 2 different lifestyles, 2 different ways of living their lives, okay? Brand loyalty reflects a customer's consistent preference for one brand over others, leading to repeated purchases and resistance to switching to competitors. This is the ultimate objective of every business. So what kind of questions can you ask the customers of your potential partner to assess brand loyalty? How often do you purchase the brand compared to other brands? To what extent do you prefer brand X over other brands in the same category? All right, so these are, I think, very practical questions that you can ask. Another aspect of brand equity is brand awareness. Brand awareness refers to the extent to which consumers recognize and recall a brand under different conditions. So how do we measure that? Have you ever heard of that guy before, that service provider before? Which of the following brands do you recognize? And you can give a list and just ask and just try to understand which ones are recognized more. When you think of soft beverages, life insurance, okay, certain product category, which brands come to mind first? All right, you want to make sure that you are what is called the top of mind. You want to be the first one that is mentioned, or maybe the second or third, but certainly not the 10th one. Usually when consumers make decisions, they have what is called a consideration set. And they take into consideration usually 4 or 5 brands. So you want to be one of the 4 or 5 that are mentioned by consumers. Perceived quality, which is also an element of brand equity, is a critical aspect of brand equity and consumer satisfaction, reflecting the consumer's judgment about a product's overall excellence or superiority. So how do we measure this? Very simple. How would you rate the overall quality of Adidas compared to other brands? 1, very poor quality. 7, very high quality. By the way, just that you know, usually we use what are called Likert scales, which range from 1 to 5 or 1 to 7. Okay, so I would always use Likert scales. How consistently high is the quality of the products of brand Y. 1, very inconsistent. 7, very consistent. Okay? Now, something for your general knowledge, according to research, and this is something that we can see in all industries, there are 2 general determinants of perceived quality. It's the made-in label, if it's a physical product, but in general, the price of the product or service determines the perceived quality. There are 2 types of qualities, okay? You have to remember this: objective quality and subjective quality. And when we're talking about perceived quality, we're talking about perceived quality, which is the most important. How do our customers perceive the quality of our service? So if you want to be perceived as a high-level service provider, you cannot charge lower prices. This will lead to cognitive dissonance, which usually will lead to consumers to say, well, if the price is low, then the service and the quality is probably very low. Okay? Perceived quality is also important for 5 reasons. First of all, you can charge a price premium. If you're perceived to be high quality, you can charge 20, 30, 40, 100% more than the average. It's a differentiator, and it can help you with the unique selling proposition. It's a reason to buy from you and not from your competition. It can engender a lot of interest from different people who would want to partner with you. Oh, Carol, she's such a good consultant. She's well known. I want to partner with her. I want to form collaborations with her. Okay. And it also enables you to increase your profits and grow your business by adapting a strategy which is called brand extensions. So let's say that now I'm in the life insurance business, and tomorrow I want to go into car insurance. Because I'm well known and I'm perceived to be a high quality service provider, people will say, well, Vili is a very high quality life insurance agent. So if he is now offering car insurance, I can assume that he will also be a good provider of this service. This is what is called the halo effect. Okay, so there are a lot of benefits to being perceived high quality. The 5th element in the brand equity is proprietary assets. Examples like IP, patents, copyrights, trademarks, and software. All right, so if all of these elements in the brand equity are high, your potential partner has high brand awareness, high brand loyalty, very positive associations. It means that this is a partner that you should seriously consider partnering with. Okay. Now, regarding the consequences of brand equity, there's value to the firm, to you as a business person, premium pricing that you can charge, greater partnership opportunities with retailers, wholesalers, distributors, greater customer satisfaction, and most importantly, is barrier to market entry. The more loyal customers you have, the more difficult it will be for new players to enter the market and steal your customers. The value to
Vili, excuse me 1 second. I have a comment, but also a suggestion. I think it's you distorting. I never can tell whether it's you or I. Are you all hearing some of the distortion, Brian?
I'm hearing some distortion, Jay.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything you can do, because your message is actually quite interesting, and I don't know if you can get closer or if it's just the internet service. You distort about maybe every 6th word, and it's very interesting. But I think if you can also spin this, because you're giving people a secondary education on what they have to make their brand look like, or the clients they are representing, or the products or services. And I think that it should be a reality check for them as well. And I think that's very interesting. I'm actually enjoying this. Continue, but you are distorting a little bit.
Thank you. Okay, can you hear me clearly now?
Right this moment, yes.
Okay, if you don't, just let me know, okay? And I will
So,
try to
all right.
fix. Okay.
A little bit too, as you're talking, so interesting, but I'm a fanatic about making sure people understand what I'll call the double valve. It goes different ways when you're trying to interpret something, and that as you're trying to align, you got to make sure that your message to market, if you get that alignment with a partner, is going to be perceived correctly for your audience.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So there are some examples of failed relationships because there was no alignment. So there's one between Target and Neiman Marcus in 2012. They launched a holiday collection featuring items from high-end designers. Obviously, two different values, and this was really not successful. Another one between Madonna, which is a brand, a persona, and Pepsi. Back in 1989, they partnered with Madonna for a major advertising campaign that featured her song Like a Prayer. And I think you know the story. It was really a complete failure. Okay, so is there anything that you missed and you want me to repeat? Because I wanted to leave
But
some
Billy,
time
I'll tell you
for...
what, Billy, I like this one. If you want to go a little longer and you want to embellish it, I will enjoy that, because I think this is interesting, as long as everybody understands that this has a multitude of implications. It has implications if it's your company, your product, service, with whoever you're aligning with, whether you're trying to take your product or service through their audience, their product or service to yours. But you have to also realize what Billy is saying, that you have to do reality check and say, does my product or service, I am, as he said, the product or service, do I conform to these attributes? Do I really connect? Do I personify this? It's a very provocative. I actually like it. So if you want to go another 10 or so, it's fine with me.
Okay, so I maybe we can do a short Q&A, and then I will go into details into things that maybe were not understood. So I just want to make sure that you got the main idea, that before you partner with anybody, you should check the brand equity of that potential partner. You should check whether he or she has brand loyalty, positive brand associations, brand awareness. Are people aware of this service provider? Do people know him? What is the perceived quality of the service provided by that provider? And whether he or she has any proprietary assets that you can benefit from. Okay? If all of this is positive, there is high brand loyalty, very positive brand associations, great brand awareness, perceived quality, then I would say go with the deal. Now, when I went over the sample questions here, sorry. Okay, I just want to make sure that these are the kind of questions that you can ask the audience or the customers of your potential partner, and to see what they think about him. Okay, I just want to make sure that this is clear. Okay, and it doesn't have to be a lot of people. It could be 10, 20